Welcome to the Rock Fight, where we speak our truth, slay sacred cows, and sometimes agree to disagree. This is an outdoor podcast that aims for the head. I'm Colin True, and joining me today, first he drinks the coffee, and then he does the pod. It's Justin Hausman!
Good morning, Colin. I thought you were maybe going for some kind of weird, there might be blood reference there, with like a milkshake sort of deal. First he drinks the coffee, then he...
Yes.
I don't know.
Is that the line? Is that when he talks about the milkshake?
Maybe not. I can't remember.
That's a great movie, though.
Maybe not. I've only seen it once.
Me too, but really good. Well, hey, before we get to today's show, we got a few housekeeping reminders for you. Please follow and rate The Rock Fight wherever you're listening on any podcast app, your favorite podcast app even. Leave us that 5-star rating and click follow. And hey, are you following our other podcasts on the Rock Fight Podcast Network? It's called Gear and Beer. Last week, Justin rated gear as over, under, or properly rated. You can follow and you can rate Gear and Beer. It's only ever properly, though, when you rate Gear and Beer. Wherever you're listening to The Rock Fight. And Justin, if any of our listeners would like to reach out to us, what should they do?
How come the notes don't have Instagram on here, Colin?
Oh. I'll add it right now. Because I copied and pasted it from another outline and forgot. Instagram. Yeah, it's on there now.
Well, while he's filling out that on the Google Doc that we share, folks, you can email us at myrockfight@gmail.com. You can visit us over on Instagram at rockfightco. That's at rockfightco. And you should very, very soon go to our website and join the mailing list to get our newsletter. It comes out every Sunday.
Yeah.
It's the best outdoor newsletter you're going to get.
Oh, high praise.
Since I stopped writing the ones for Adventure Journal. But following, other than that, this is the one. This is the one you want. It's really fun. Nice little Sunday afternoon. Like if maybe it comes out like while you're taking a break from morning and afternoon football games, you read this. Or if you don't watch football, that's fine. You have more time to read it. But either way, join the mailing list.
Well, I wanted to kick things off because despite the fact that I'm morally opposed to the daily national holidays, like, every single day there's a different, like apparently it was like National Daughter's Day last week.
Sure.
Yeah.
National Donut Day happens.
Every day's got a day. I hate those things, but I'm morally in favor of coffee and the role coffee plays in our outdoorsy lifestyles. I know you're a coffee enthusiast also. So Yesterday, Sunday the 29th, when we're recording this obviously on Monday the 30th, it was National Coffee Day. And so, Justin, I want to know, are you ready to take the Rock Fight's official National Coffee Day quiz?
I don't know if you can ever be ready for something like this. I am caffeinated, so that seems important. I have coffee breath. That seems good.
I think we've talked about, you're a Cicerone, you're an official beer expert certified, and I think you would choose coffee over beer.
What do you mean? In what situation?
Meaning you can only have one for the rest of your life.
Ooh, God. Jeez, God, no. I don't know. I'd probably... I think I'd choose beer. I enjoy beer more than I have to have coffee.
Yeah.
I don't have to have beer. I just
this
like it.
This is my point. This is why coffee wins.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But I feel like, you know what though? You know how sometimes you're sick for 3 days and you don't drink coffee and it's fine? I think I have a feeling if I just quit cold turkey, it would be a really rough couple days and then I'd just be okay. I mean, I could obviously do it with beer, even though I drink too much. But I can, I feel like if I could replace coffee with
This is really entertaining to watch you work through these emotions.
I'm thinking about it. I take these questions so seriously. This is not hypothetical. In my mind, there's a gun to my head, and I'm having to figure it out right now. That's how serious I'm taking this question. I think I'd probably say I'd rather have a beer, but it would be tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing can replace, to me, afternoon, you had a long day, and you're relaxing with a beer. I mean, nothing can beat that. I mean, hot coffee in the morning is great, but I feel like I could find a replacement.
See, that's how I feel about coffee in the morning. Because I don't get headaches if I don't drink it. If I miss it, it's fine. But I just
never miss it.
Yeah, well, that's mostly true.
You'll get headaches if you just always drink it. I get headaches in the afternoon. If I don't have my 3 o'clock coffee, I'll get a headache.
I don't get withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's great. I'm just always doing meth. I don't miss it at all.
But there's a lot of days I play, I'm like, I should have a beer today. Then I just don't, and I don't really care. But if I don't have coffee in the morning, it's like, oh, God, I got to go have some coffee. So I love having coffee. But
yeah, I don't want to have to ever face that. So let's just pretend that
let's never have this happen.
Yeah.
Well, so Justin, do you know why National Coffee Day is held on September 29th?
Oh my gosh, no. Good question.
Okay, well,
why?
It's the day that the U.S. received its first shipment of coffee ever.
Huh.
And
I guess I could have guessed that.
Here's where you can take a real good guess. What year do you think that was? I'll give you a hint. The United States was not officially recognized as a country
Okay, I was going to say it's probably like your first thought is going to be, well, we drank tea back then. Maybe we didn't get it till like this could be those things where it's like way later than you would think.
I would have said like 18 something. I would have said 1800s.
Yeah.
So it's pre-Revolutionary War.
I mean, honestly, I think let's go like 1712.
Pretty close, 1723.
Yeah,
that was a good guess.
I do have a master's degree in American history, Colin.
Do you know what country that the beans came from in 1723?
Probably Africa. Somewhere in Africa.
It would be a good guess. Brazil, though, actually.
Brazil? Yeah. All right. I wasn't, like, I don't know how long it took for that to, like, of course, people have been growing coffee down there forever. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. I also was like, what's easier to get? Like, it's easier to get. Well, Brazil makes sense. I'm thinking, like, most of Latin America. I'm like, well, that's probably easier to get to from Africa to the States.
What number out of 5? What out of 5? So however many out of 5 Americans drink caffeinated coffee. So blank and 5 Americans drink caffeinated.
Gotta be 3.
Coffee.
It gotta be 3 and 5. Wait. Does this mean like pure like if you drink coffee, this is how many drink caffeinated coffee, or just generally speaking, if you're an American, you have a 3 and I would say 3 out of 5 Americans drink caffeinated coffee. I would guess.
Yeah, it's 4 out of 5, but yeah, that's the
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then same question, but how many out of 5 like sugar in their coffee?
4 out of 5.
2.
Shut up.
I was actually impressed by that. There's more black coffee drinkers out there. Yeah, right?
What do you do? What's your
just straight black coffee. Yeah. And last question, is coffee awesome?
Coffee. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome.
It's pretty,
like I don't
not as good as beer, apparently.
I don't know. I mean, I enjoy them both so much, but I do feel like I get more actual enjoyment when I'm having a beer. Like I rarely look forward to coffee.
All right, well, before we get into some headlines, this is normally where we promote our pals at Darby, our PR friends in Asheville, North Carolina. And yeah, they are based in Asheville. And if you've been paying attention, things are a little rough in Western North Carolina right now. So we just want to ask the Rock Fight listeners out there, if you have the means, if you can help out, please head over to FEMA.gov. And there's a whole list of links where you can donate to just to help out with relief from Hurricane Helene. So we love our pals at Darby. We hope everybody's doing well out there, and please help out if you can.
If you haven't, I don't know, the news is so fractured these days. You know, it's like you look at what you're interested in and kind of ignore what you're not. But I hadn't realized how hard Asheville had been hit until this morning. And obviously Asheville's a pretty big. It's one of America's like kind of cornerstone sort of adventure towns, or outdoor towns. It's a hub for sure. And so I guarantee there's people listening to this from Asheville, probably in Asheville if they can. Obviously we have friends. I'm sure I have online friends I don't even know that live in Asheville, you know. I mean, it's worth kind of looking at some of the stuff that's coming out of there. I mean, I was kind of horrified this morning. A friend of mine showed me some footage of streets that are just like washed away and like entire blocks that are basically just like silt at this point. And so anyway, check it out. If you can help out, please do. But if you're in Asheville, if you're associated with Asheville at all, our hearts go out to you guys today. It's I don't even know where to begin.
Well, speaking of Hurricane Helene and closures, Appalachian Trail hikers, this is from the Trek.co, are being advised to skip right now the first 865 miles of the 2100 mile classic trail, because basically the entire southern portion of the trail after Hurricane Helene is, I would say it's wiped out, but basically that entire section of the trail you want to avoid at this point. The town of Hot Springs, which is at mile 275, has been flooded. The town of Irwin, Tennessee, at mile 345 has been evacuated. Probably a lot more towns have been evacuated since I updated the story over the weekend. And the town of Damascus, Virginia, that far north, mile 471, is also experiencing flooding. So basically the entire southern Appalachians have experienced some form of flooding or impact from the storm. So, I mean, obviously, trail access is pretty trivial when compared to the total impact of this historic storm. I gotta think there's gonna be some long-term implications to hikers on the AT, even stretching into next year.
Oh, for sure. I mean, think about, around here, if it's even slightly above average in terms of like storm kind of violence. Like trees are down everywhere.
Right.
Trails are messed up.
Or just winter,
out there.
right? I mean, you live in a relatively stormy winter.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Just like generally speaking, like just a regular storm with like maybe a little windier than normal, and it's like chaos. So I can't even. And there's probably entire sections of trail that are gone. I mean, I've saw footage of somewhere in the southeast. I don't know where it was the other day on probably an Instagram reel, and it was raining really hard, and it's like looking up like a sloped hillside, I would say like 15 to 20%, not crazy steep, but pretty steep, just like a grassy hillside. and it's a land water avalanche. Like all of a sudden,
I saw that.
The trees start shaking,
Yeah.
and it's like, holy shit!
It's terrifying.
I mean, like if I've never seen anything like that before. That must have been moving like 80 miles an hour, like when it comes rushing past the camera. So if there's a trail anywhere in a situation like that, it's gone, So
it's a really good point. I mean, yeah, you think any place I've lived where they get some semblance of winter, and if you go out in the spring, whether it's on a bike or hiking or running or whatever, you're going to come across down trees or just branches that are fell down over the winter or something like that. So something like this, I can't imagine. I mean, if you're planning an AT through hike for anytime now, I mean, it's a little late in the year.
It got a lot shorter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for sure.
Right,
Maybe I could probably pick it off at this point.
North.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think that like they're not even going to get. I mean, so even if say there's not another major tropical storm that comes through the rest of the season, I mean, the winter is. So like this is going to complicate anything they were going to already be able to do to like clear trails over the winter. So I got to think like next spring it's probably. I mean, unless there's a Herculean effort to like get out there and clean it, maybe there will be. You got to think that like next spring is still going to be pretty closed.
I've been pretty bad. I've not really spent a lot of time volunteering on like trail crews, but I will happily go out and use trails and spend very little time volunteering my time.
Getting mad that it's not, or getting mad that there's like a tree in the way. Like somebody needs to come fix this.
But I would say, this would be the time if you're in that area, and even if you're someone like me who has not done a lot with that, now's the time to give your time, right? I mean, and not just in the AT. I'm sure there's plenty of state parks and other places where that is going to be a huge amount of cleanup required. We're talking about right now. We're talking about Asheville, and they're cut off from like water and power, and I'm sure the next couple of weeks are going to be very rough from that point of view. But then, this is going to really linger. So this is the time now. If anybody out there, maybe we could find some resources to put in the show notes or talk about in a future episode of people who want to give their time to get the adventure community back on their feet.
Do you ever ride like with any kind of knife or anything to like potentially, or like a little mini saw to like
I carry
deal
a
with
minigun.
Like trees on the trail? Just in case a predator shows up.
You never know.
Just in case you have to like attach it to the roof of the open door of a Huey helicopter.
That's how I mountain bike, with the helicopter and a minigun.
I keep. I'll show it to you. Not that anyone else on the podcast can see it, but I keep this like little handsaw by my bike area to remind me to bring it, which I never do.
In case you come across something that's down across the trail.
There's always like branches down or like a tree trunk down, and like. People bring that stuff to like deal with the trail, and I never even think about it.
I'll get off my bike and move stuff if it's like if there's a branch down, and even if it's small, like just ask somebody. I know a million people are going to ride by this and not do anything about it. But you're right. It's especially if you're carrying a backpack or have a bag on your bike. Like a small little handsaw would be a great idea to bring for when these things happen.
Yeah.
But.
Anyway,
we're thinking of you, North Carolina, and the rest of the Southeast. It's going to be, we'll probably be talking about this well into next year. Next story, according to Gear Junkie, a survey on Mount Rainier in Washington has shown that the true summit has shifted from the Columbia Crest, which has been the summit of Mount Rainier forever, to a rocky spot about 500 horizontal feet from the Columbia Crest. This shows how 22 feet of ice has melted to create the new summit since the last time it was measured in 1998.
Whoa.
And while this change it'll have very little impact on those looking to summit the volcano, the change of the glaciers on the mountain will likely result in the upper part of the mountain becoming more dangerous to climb. I know that climate change is bad, but what I'd like to start by saying is that anyone who climbs the mountain now, well, you kind of suck it, because I summited the mountain when it was taller. I got 410 feet on you, so that was in 2006. So there you go. I'm the world's best mountaineer. That's
all that matters. I as a person who doesn't like climb mountains, I love these kinds of stories. Not because of the climate change aspect, but the fact that like true summits aren't always so obvious. I just think that's amazing.
22 feet.
That's a pretty significant change,
right?
That's pretty terrifying, actually. I mean, I feel like that's noticeable. Like if you've been up there more than once, you'd be like,
oh yeah,
this is different.
Oh, people think the guides who summit that like 10, 15 times a summer, right? And now it's like, well, we used to stand over there when we did the summit. Now we stand here.
I mean, that's also probably kind of obviously that's always been the case. I mean, it's just not supposed to happen that quickly. I mean, I don't know if you like start to try to like get super weird about things and try to imagine mountain ranges in geological time. I mean, obviously they're like changing all the time.
Right.
So, I mean, no matter what, in like 250 years, 250,000 years is probably more accurate. Like it will look slightly different.
Radically different. Once it explodes 3 times between those over that time period. No, it's true. Every year.
I just wrote a little piece about this thing called Mount Thor. Have you ever heard of Mount Thor?
No,
there's a lot of Mount Thors, but there's like there's like one on Baffin Island in Canada that's kind of well known. It looks like it looks like you prompted AI to make like a mountain that looks like a terrifying wave. Kind of. It's radical. Awesome. It's like Half Dome stretched out and made to look really mean. There's certain angles where it really looks incredible.
I'm looking it up,
but it doesn't look real.
Look at that thing.
Right?
Yeah, that's that's what Mount Doom in the Lord of the Rings is.
Yes,
actually
exactly.
Looks like.
Right?
It's terrifying.
And that's in the area where like
tooth.
everything is exactly. Well, it's like Inuit word is like tooth-like.
Oh,
is what the name is for it. But
nailed it.
And like everything around there is all named for like Asgardian things, which is pretty cool. But anyway, the reason I brought that up though is it's also called the fastest growing peak in the world.
Oh wow!
Just because of just natural activity in the area, it grows like a centimeter a year. Like it's pretty fast.
Huh.
I mean, like Everest is changing. I think Everest is getting higher.
Yeah,
too,
every year it goes like a
I can't remember.
centimeter or something. Whatever it is.
Yeah, but this one is like grows faster than anywhere else in the world, and it's which is also, by the way, an absolutely bonkers thing to know.
Right, just the fact that we know that.
How? Yeah. I have no idea how. I guess GPS, like super good GPS, but otherwise, like what in the world, like. You're not running a tape from the top to the bottom, but that's you're officially, no matter who climbs Rainier after you.
Yep.
You've definitely climbed it, more of it, I guess, technically speaking.
So.
You've climbed more of that mountain.
But I guess we're just accepting this as our new normal. I mean, think about the hurricane we just talked about, and then like now the stories like this. This is it. This is just the way it is, right?
We are like whoever came up with the metaphor of the frog in the boiling pot is like that's probably the most accurate metaphor in history, right? It has to be. I mean, we are so there at this point. I mean, what would it take? I mean, for God's sake, dude, like remember like 2 years ago when there was hearings at the Pentagon about UFOs and people were like, I don't know, maybe. Sure. like I don't even, at this point we're willing to like whatever. Yeah, all right. You know, like
Did you see that TikTok I sent you?
Of what?
No, I mean like that's the conversation we want to have. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like the frog. It's not like we don't know.
Right.
The frog in the boiling pot, I think maybe does know what's happening. It's just like this is nice. I don't want. What am I going to do?
Like it felt so good a few minutes ago. Maybe if I wait, it'll get better.
Yeah, I mean, like there's all sorts of stuff right now about how Northern California is like prepped for like a massive fire season in October because it's supposed to get real hot this week and the next week and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, I also don't know, like, isn't this how it's kind of always been? Like it's like knowing a mountain is a centimeter taller. It's like, well, it's kind of always been like this. I guess it's a little worse, you know.
Right,
but yeah, I don't know. At this point, I don't know what would shock me anymore weather-wise. I really don't.
Yeah. This episode of The Rock Fight is brought to you by the Great Malden Outdoors, an outdoor enablement campaign in the city of Malden, Massachusetts, and the brains behind this initiative, Darren Josie. He's here with me right now. Darren, first of all, what is an outdoor enablement campaign?
An outdoor enablement campaign provides 4 things: advertising, resources, programming, and youth development. These are the 4 things that I believe are really important to getting more people outside.
So why is this campaign important to DEI efforts in the outdoor industry?
We have to start by getting more people outside, and that can start their journey from 1, becoming someone who just enjoys outdoor recreation as a lifestyle, but 2, a path for a job. No one told me that going outside and rock climbing could lead to a job one day, or fishing, or bike riding. Didn't know that was a thing until I got into the industry, and I want to change that and start that journey a lot earlier for way more people in our society.
Hey, man, and lastly, how can outdoor brands and retailers help or participate?
Go to thegreatmaldenOutdoors.com, click on the contact button, and reach out. We are always looking for donations for gear, funds, and expertise. You can lend your existing staff to lead an online course, or if you're in the New England area, come on down and lead a class. We're looking for more programming.
Head to thegreatmaldenOutdoors.com and click contact to build a partnership today. I was excited about this because I know we've talked about some space stuff before on the show, and we both like talking about space stuff.
We do.
There are 2 stories from Explorers Web this week. The first was scientists have spotted 2 giant plasma jets streaming from a massive black hole measuring 23 light years in length. So that's the equivalent to 140 Milky Way galaxies long. And they've been around since the universe was only 6.3 billion years old. And I don't know why, but this was absolutely terrifying to me to think about that. Like, so our galaxy, the Milky Way, you stack 23 of them in a row. Yeah, that's what this plasma jet shooting out of a black hole is. I don't even understand what most of this is. It just sounds really scary. There should be a horror movie made about this.
So Remember the scene at the very end of Men in Black when the aliens are playing marbles with like
the very end, like the last thing.
That's like that's like the Milky Way is like in a marble, right? I mean, that's obviously what like we're clearly like
Dude,
planets
I'm so
are
with you on this.
Planets are atoms or something, right?
Yeah, we are like what's the small? We're smaller than atoms.
I mean, clearly, like it's got to be like the planet is like an atom, and like if you like somehow got small enough with like an electron microscope, you would be like, oh wow, that's like fuck. There's like even smaller ones, and somehow you get a bigger microscope and you realize that there's like things flying around in them, and you go, oh okay, all right, I see what's happening. It has to be.
Is it like Horton Hears a Who, where like we're the Who's on the flower, being like carried around by an elephant? You know what I mean?
I've actually never read that one.
Oh, it's good.
Which is weird because I have 2 little kids in the house.
The adaptation of it's great. With Jim Carrey plays Horton, really good.
Sounds terrifying. It sounds like that would be freaky too.
Oh, it's really good. I think your kids would like it. That was a favorite.
We've talked about space on the show before because to me it's like there's nothing more adventurous. I mean, it's pretty fucking rad.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's weird that like this somehow would be different than like some massive like volcano going off somewhere, which we would totally talk about. Every outdoor publication would cover it, but like this is very outdoor. This is extremely outdoor. And it's also just like anything that reminds you that this is all subject to the whim of like a universe that you cannot possibly fucking comprehend is why. I mean, like that. There's any point we can start getting like sort of some message from the president, like, well, we just discovered this like plasma jet that's apparently been hurtling toward us for the last 15 billion years. Well, I don't think the galaxy's not that old. Or the universe might not be that old, but anyway, whatever. Like,
right, yeah.
And it's unfortunately it's going to hit us tomorrow.
Right.
Like hug your pets.
Yeah, it was a good run, everybody. Yeah. You get to be here for the end of the world.
This is not germane necessarily to this conversation, but like I was having a big long chat with my wife yesterday about AI. She kind of in her job she deals with kind of what is coming with AI all the time. And the only thing I can think of all the time is like, the sun is still going to like the earth is not for like, no matter what we do, we're gone. Like you can't, what are we doing here?
We have to go populate another world is the only way.
I guess, but like even then, so what? Like, what do you, like, just can't you, doesn't that seem, at a certain point, that seems totally fucking insane to me.
Oh, absolutely. Like, if you said, hey, we can go like send a probe to discover another planet that the human race could live on, or we can solve like homelessness, I'd be like, yeah, homelessness, let's go. Like,
or we could just have like Mai Tais and accept that like life is finite.
That's right.
It's like that's okay, great. Let's just can I choose that option? Because like it just seems crazy. Like no wonder we're so messed up. It's like you can't accept. Yeah, like
when before we start recording, we're talking about where we are in life, what's going on, and this is stressing us out or whatever. It's like, and then you read about the 23 light year long plasma jet coming out of a black hole. It's like actually, I got to go for a hike today. How bummed out am I right now? Like we're doing okay,
Yeah, it's wild.
Well,
what's the other? Well,
good segue to the other story because last week physicists in New Mexico showed that X-rays resulting in a nuclear blast could be enough to alter the trajectory of a planet-killing asteroid. So if something did come shooting, if the president did, come and say, hey, we're
an asteroid's coming. Yeah.
I just want to know what does this mean? If we can actually do this, what does this mean for the legacy of both Deep Impact and Armageddon?
Well, there's probably corollaries here, right? With movies where there was like some sort of horrible calamity and we've solved it, but now it turns out in reality, like in modern age, that calamity wouldn't be an issue anymore. There has to be movie like this has to be a thing.
Well, or now we're going to get new movies where we're going to use they're going to send nukes.
Asteroid that's too big for a nuke to knock out. Now what? Now we got to find. Well, Bruce Willis dead.
No, but he's not probably far
He's like
away.
Not doing well.
He's not doing well.
Yeah. So we're not sending him up.
No, that's still like the best. Apparently, the Armageddon commentary where I think Ben Affleck is on it. He may have been having a few drinks beforehand, apparently, and he's like just kind of ripping the movie to shreds with Michael Bay there. It's apparently the question of like, wait a minute. It was better to train miners to go be astronauts than it was to train astronauts to go be miners. Yeah. It's brilliant.
So insane.
Like, don't ask questions.
I mean, asteroids are pretty sweet. I mean, like I'll be in here like writing some story about like hiking boots or something, and my wife will be in the other room having a conversation with someone at NASA about like moon mining or like asteroid mining. So like this, I mean, that's like people are really trying to figure that sort of stuff out. Like we might be mining on asteroids. in our lifetime.
Yeah,
How
well, they
cool is
landed
that,
something
I
on an
guess?
asteroid and then sent it back to Earth and collected samples from it not that long ago.
That's such a bad idea.
Yeah, but
Such a bad idea.
So, but this is where like the science, the idea that we can do stuff like this is pretty awesome. Like, I mean, and that we know that we actually did land something on a moving asteroid in space, collected samples, then launched it back to Earth and retrieved those samples. To your point about
This is like these people are like these are like the Killian Jornets of the science world, where they're like, this is physically possible. Let's try to
let's
do
try
it.
and do it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, not necessarily sure there's a reason, but we can, so let's do it.
Well, all right. So what do we got? We had hurricanes and climate change, Mount Rainier, shorter, and black holes and nuclear weapons on asteroids scare us. I think we kind of covered it all today.
Anything pleasant happened in the outdoor
I don't
spaces
know. I
last
felt
week?
like those would be fun topics. I guess it was a lot of death and gloom. My bad. I assembled the topics there. There didn't seem like a lot to talk about. And now Dikembe Mutombo.
Well, it is. I mean, obviously, it's literally horrible and also unfortunate for us that the hurricane thing really kind of stole the show this week.
Yeah. Well, I think it's time for the parting shot.
It's time to end, it's time to leave. This place that time forgot. Let's take our rock and head on home. It's time for our parting shot.
Who's first?
You go first.
Okay, so this is actually going to apply real nicely to what we've just been talking about. And it's not so much a parting shot. I guess it kind of is a parting shot. And you know what it is? Just be nice and wave in traffic. Just be nice and just wave.
That's it.
I guess the parting shot is don't be not nice.
Okay.
Just give a wave. Just get if someone lets you in, give them a wave. If someone lets you over, give them a wave. Can we just do that? That's all I'm asking for. There's been a lot of just sort of, I don't know, entitled driving around here lately that I've seen. And it's so easy to be nice. It's just so dang easy. I got yelled at by the crossing guard the other day because I pushed the button to cross the street, and he apparently had already let a bunch of cars go by. He was waiting for them, letting more cars go by before he stopped the traffic again. And they have my two little girls on the bike with me, and he's like, "Hey man, don't do that." I'm like, "Don't do what? Like, what are you even talking about?" It took me a minute to realize what he meant. Just be nice. It doesn't have to be in the car. It can be anywhere. Just be nice. Just don't be mean. That's my parting shot.
I think it's a great parting shot, and I co-sign it. Although I was on the phone with you while you were in traffic trying to get to the beach the other day, and
they can't hear me. Those people cannot hear me.
Your parting shot weeks ago. Don't honk your horn and settle down in traffic.
Honk my horn.
You were yelling and honking your horn. It was very entertaining.
This is what surfing does to you. I'm like, I got to get through this tunnel. That was extremely frustrating, and I will defend myself by saying it is a one-way tunnel with a 10-minute wait. And there was a couple cars ahead of me that clearly didn't understand what was happening, and we're just sitting there with a green light. And I'm like, if this light turns red, I'm sitting here for another 10 minutes.
But yeah, I think let's be nice. Be nice, everybody. Be nice to each other out there.
Yeah.
All right, well, my parting shot is not nearly as nice. So I got to talk about Raw Tech that came out from Fox Racing, because I saw this press release about Raw Tech. It's a new technology, new apparel technology from Fox Racing, and it's spelled RAWTEC. It's all capital letters. And look, I saw it and in a press release, and all I could see was raw dog. That's all the word that I could see. And I'm like, Fox Racing releases raw dog. I'm like, what is happening? And then you realize, so just God damn it, people at brands, take a second to look at the thing you're putting out there and poke some holes in it. Just be like, what can people see when they look at that? It's everywhere. Now, if you go to their website, it's like, now with Raw Tech. I'm assuming it's I don't even really know what it is. It's a new fabric technology, but you're calling it Raw Tech. Also, by the way, if you don't want to get as gross as I am with Raw Dog, I see Raw Tech. If I'm not thinking Raw Dog, I'm thinking chafing. I'm thinking encouraging chafing.
I was just going to say, raw is not pleasant ever.
No. Bad Fox Racing. So I am again calling for the institution of a brand asshole at every outdoor brand to stop you from embarrassing yourself. Please. Raw Tech. Why would you want to wear something called Raw Tech?
What is it? What's raw about it? It's not treated with something?
Your skin, probably. I don't know. I closed the.
This will chafe your shit.
People, they don't think about this stuff, man. All right, well, listen, we can wrap it up there. Thanks for everybody listening. Thanks for checking out The Rock Fight. Make sure you listen to Gear and Beer coming out on Thursday, and we should have another episode of The Rock Fight probably on Friday. The Rock Fight is a production of Rock Fight LLC. For Justin Hausman, I'm Colin Truth. Thanks for listening. He's back again, folks. Krista Makes is here to sing the Rock Fight fight song. We'll see you next time, Rock Fighters.
Rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight. culture.